For October 25th, 2024, we talk about moving houses, Cult of the Lamb, Diablo IV Vessel of Hatred, and much more. Welcome to Level 520. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm Moxie.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Back with a 3-style. Ben had to be out of town. He sent us I'm not going to dox him. Send us a picture from out
A very, very stylish picture.
Yeah, if he wants you to know where he went, then he'll tell you.
It was a newspaper with today's headline and someone he was holding hostage.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing. We're working through it.
Yeah, yeah. So we're back. I'm trying to think. All of us were here last time, I think.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So it's impossible to know who to start with. Dennis, how are things going?
Me.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah. Yes. Duck of Wonders funded.
Yay!
Or rather, the Master of Dungeons expansion for it funded, and I could not be more excited. We actually are recording in the last hours of the campaign, and I had the thought cross my mind a couple days ago. I was like, "Oh my god, if I'm going to try to record while we're like short of the goal or something, I'll be unable to." But no, that was not the case at all. We actually funded overnight last night, so all today has just been running up the score, as it were. And I think we will cross $13,000, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
So yes, thank you to everyone who contributed. Kickstarter is like experimenting with a new late pledges thing, so it might still be possible to get in, but I don't really know how it works yet and have not thought about it too much. But the main campaign is through, so huzzah! That's probably a year's solids worth of effort. Finally paying off, and that feels real good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing.
Must have felt nice to just wake up and have it funded.
Yeah, well, so Luke has a bit of a cough, and I woke up because he was coughing at 4 a.m. I don't think he even woke up. He was just, whatever.
Yeah.
Parent wake up because of noise. You know how it is. And I was like, should I look? I should just and I couldn't stop myself from looking and saw right as it crossed the line at 4 a.m. So
nice.
Thank you Kickstarter After Dark crowd.
Did you wake up Jen and tell her that passed? By which I mean, are you sleeping on the couch tonight?
I think I did say something to the effect of like, funded, and Jen said something to the effect of like, and then he went back to sleep. So. So much can be said between a couple with just a mumble.
There will be time to celebrate in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Celebrate we did.
Well, congratulations to you and the team.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, that's for me, it's like all fun from here on out. For Jill, the artist on the expansion, it's like, great, I get to drop a truckload of art briefs on you. Hooray! But thankfully, we've built in plenty of time for her to do them, and it'll be really fun to like kind of, almost do like a making of, sharing out updates and stuff as we build this thing. So that'll be really cool.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
What about everyone else?
Moxie.
I try and think. Didn't have a whole lot last weekend. There was there's a local state park up on top of a nearby mountain, and they've got a tea house and kind of tea garden area, and they had a Japanese festival this past weekend. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Did you get or do anything cool there?
Not really. Just kind of walked around and saw it, and they have a trail there that like a whole bunch of people have written haikus, and they're like engraved on like rocks along the trail and stuff like that. Just stuff like that. The one thing that was a little bit weird is there were like two people there, like cosplaying like Japanese like imperial officers.
Okay.
Huh.
What era?
It's like I'm pretty sure World War II.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like yeah. Yeah, I know that's like you aren't technically cosplaying Nazis.
Yeah, I'm not going to wade into it. It seems like a strange decision.
Yeah.
That's it, that is maybe someone getting access to the materials for the costume and being so excited that they could that they did not think about should.
Yeah. Huh.
But so what, like, is there a Japanese equivalent of like high tea that you participated in, or what is, what made it special?
Tea ceremony is the thing. I have no idea why like the middle of October is when they did it, or just if they did. Yeah, I have no idea.
If there was significance, or if that's just when they could fit it in.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea. So yeah. Other than that, this coming weekend is the Renaissance Festival. So I'm doing a martial arts demo there, which should be fun.
Oh, I need to ask you. Did you do AnimeCon this year?
Huntsville?
I don't know where it was. The person I was talking to was like, we went to AnimeCon. I was like, so was it an anime convention or AnimeCon? And they're like, no, it's the one that's actually like called AnimeCon.
Huh.
I think it was up in not Milwaukee, other M place, Northern City,
Massachusetts,
Minnesota,
Minneapolis. Thank you. Yes.
No, I did not do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. They were talking. Their daughter, my friend's daughter, is getting into cosplay.
Nice.
And was like, I guess they went to it recently, and she is already like starting to plot out her costume for next year.
Oh, did they say what she wants to cosplay?
A character from The Ranger's Apprentice, which I guess is like the new Hunger Games series, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard of that one.
Yeah.
Like if I was going to be I've no idea. There's some cool costumes here though.
Yeah. Anyway, a complete tangent as we are wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
But conventions and cosplay reminded me.
Yeah.
I was like,
assuming
you might see my friend
back
out there.
to being a contributing member of society next year, I'm definitely coming to either Origin or Gen Con, if not both. So
yes, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything. I've just been home working, taking care of the cats and stuff. Yeah, no, nothing crazy. which is just literally what I say whenever I'm describing anything about my boring life. Yeah, nothing crazy. Didn't go do anything. It's fine. Whatever.
You weren't cursed by snakes, so I mean,
true. The
list of stuff you didn't do is
yeah
harrowing.
And the snake curse could be lingering in some kind of dormant phase right now. So, we take that we take that as it comes. But I think we're edging out of snake season. Here's something. This is not about me. This is just a little bit of programming note. No, there will be no episode the week of the election, the week of voting day. Not that I expect that we'll know anything by the end of the night. But we usually record on Tuesdays, and I won't be able to focus on anything else. So taking that week off. Just gonna let you know.
And depending on how it goes, the next week might be recording from Canada.
Who knows?
Yeah. I'm feeling good that we won't. I'm calling it now.
Literally no way to know.
Yeah. Vibes based though. I've got this.
I tried looking up in my head. I tried looking at polling results, but all I found out is that Arnold Palmer's working with a beer can down there.
On the plus side, Tim Waltz, on the day we recorded, called Elon Musk a straight up dipshit. So that was fun.
So yeah, not to take it into like, politics hour. I love that because it's been so clear he's been put on a leash when that's what that's literally the kind of thing they hired him to say. And it's what he's good at. But he said hopping and skipping around like a dipshit, like in the very specific Midwestern way that somebody can call somebody a dipshit. It's music.
Yep.
I don't know.
I also saw Musk is being investigated for breaking campaign laws.
I did not see. Did DOJ say anything? Or is it just people saying that what he's doing with paying people is illegal?
One of the officers in something, one of the in charge people in one of the organizations said they were looking into it.
Okay, well. Let's start.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if there was any kind of injunction or whatever. Basically, like I've not been going anywhere or doing anything. Like my hobby is just listening to news shit. So
searching for some sign it will be okay.
Basically what my theory is, if I discover enough information, then I will feel better. It's probably going to be
usually the opposite of how things work.
Right. Well, that's why I've kept trying, because it hasn't worked yet. Anyway, we should talk about video games. And to do that, we're going to have to do a regular kind of show, What With the Grind, a multiplayer, and the end boss. And why don't we get started with The Grind. The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. Who has something new?
I think I have something new. Did I talk about Call of the Lamb last time? No, I do not have something new. I'm sorry. It is, like I said, it has been that type of week.
I see you've gotten to the memory washing section of Cult of the Lamb. Very cool.
Yeah,
yes,
cool.
Yes, I have.
Any like new breakthroughs in that, or are you still finding the action and management stuff to kind of be at odds with each other?
Yes and no. It's have either of you guys played this?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's a very strange game in that one, you fairly quickly get to a point where the management section, like, it's fairly easy to kind of break it, by which I mean like just you're generating many more resources than you need, and all you really have to do is like go around and do basic maintenance, collect all the things, build some new buildings, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that creates a really weird situation where you can go surprisingly long amounts of time not actually playing what would ostensibly be the core game loop of like actually going out and fighting things and stuff.
Okay.
Just there's a lot you can do with, just collecting things, that sort of thing. And so, and in particular, you really quickly get to the main progression mechanic is your follower's faith. And so you very quickly get to the point where like you max out your stores of that, how much can build up before you collect it like multiple times in a game day. So it's just very weird. And I go back and forth on this is either a game that like does a poor job of balancing like the interaction between like you said, kind of there's at odds between the management and the action parts, or alternately, this is a stroke of genius of like the game needed enough management to get across the concept of running a cult, but didn't actually feel any need to like make you micromanage things that you probably don't care about.
To be
And
super
it's actually
rigorous about
amazing design. So
Yeah.
it's like I go back and forth on is this amazing design or bad design? I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah,
If you're
overall,
having fun, it's good design.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
something.
No, overall, I am. Like I said, your characters are just, or your cult members are often just incredibly stupid, and yeah. So there are very much times where sometimes bad things happen to them, and I am not sorry.
It was. I just say they weren't going to make it. It was going to happen eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have beaten 3 out of the 4 of the bishops that are kind of the main bosses. So basically you start out, there's 4 different kind of hub and spokes. There's 4 spokes. It's pretty strongly implied that then once you beat all the bishops and free the guy that gave you power, you're going to end up having to fight him or something too. So I suspect that means that I'm about 3/5 of the way through the game. And from some stuff I've seen, there's apparently some sort of end game. So I think I'm fairly far through, and I've got most of the things unlocked. So now it's just kind of building up some of the details. As you asked, Dennis, I did recently unlock the ability to use mushrooms to brainwash my followers.
Good.
Yeah, so basically you take a hit to their faith in you, but then their faith cannot change for 3 days. So it's basically a great way to you run the brainwashing ritual, and then for 3 days you can do anything you want. Anything that would normally hurt your standing, they just won't care.
Okay, so like if you were going to take like a super risky run in the in the in the dungeon itself up against one of the bishops or whatever, you would put that on, take the hit, knowing that the potential hit you would take and the trying to do this difficult thing and dying a bunch would be less, or would be greater than the hit you took from using the mushrooms.
Right, exactly. Or if like say you had I'm not really doing this mechanic because I'm kind of trying to see how far I can go without having to engage with this. But say you had a bunch of followers that were causing problems and you wanted to just sacrifice all of them. Normally that would cause a hit to faith. So you could just brainwash everyone and then just kill all the undesirables.
Can you not use that word, actually?
No, sorry.
No, I'm not seriously. I'm not seriously reprimanding you for it. It's just like, oh, that's a word.
This is a game.
Sounds like you need some brainwashing.
It's in the fiction.
No.
Yeah. So and my call, I'm actually running the like substances encouraged thing. So like one of the options you have is you can either do like an aesthetic cult where you get penalties for using brainwashing or drugs, but everyone works harder, works more. Or you can do one where brainwashing, instead of decreasing faith, actually increases it. And that's one I'm running. So that's kind of interesting. Also the character who's actually an NPC, not part of my cult, that like kind of teaches you the Oh, the brainwashing stuff appears to be going more and more crazy as he uses the mushrooms and may or may not be like working his way towards an overdose. So that's probably one of the next story things I'm gonna see.
Okay.
But yeah, there's just a bunch of weird shit in this game. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I like other than that, it's all just things that wouldn't really make sense out of context. Like I'm trying to figure out a way to kill the guy that chops up animals and makes them into relics because he's both clearly evil and super annoying.
Okay.
Now, which weight would you put between those two on your motivations?
Oh, definitely super annoying. Like I am running a evil death cult here.
It's true.
That's super annoying undesirables. Watch out.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, it's funny. I'm trying to run actually a see how far I can get running a kind of ostensibly good cult. Which is actually kind of fun, especially because then you get to like, what is your definition of good? Because like I technically have not sacrificed anyone. I have forcibly ascended to another plane of existence. One spy that infiltrated my cult.
Okay.
However, I have resurrected a whole bunch of people from the dead. So, like, if evil
on net, you're fine.
Right. Well, I mean, it depends. Is like blatantly abusing, the powers of life and death an act of evil? Who's to say?
Yeah.
Well, we don't like to say.
Luckily, I don't have a cow
here.
followers, so no one's going to, get on me about that.
Don't have any what followers?
Cow followers.
Gotcha.
We don't like to say undead around here. We like to say life enhanced.
So I'm actually super disappointed that they don't, for the most part, come back as undead. Sometimes they come back cursed, in which case they just wander around and can't do any work and sometimes eat one of your other followers. You can heal them, but it's super, super expensive. But what I've found is you can just have them get possessed by demons, in which case they both won't eat anyone and they'll help you until the end of your next run. So then as long as before or after each run you just repossess them, then they kind of can't cause any problems. But it's only temporary, therefore not an act of evil.
Right. Huh. Played anything else?
No, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
Okay. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, so I guess the new one for me is actually about a month old. But the new season of TrackMania came out, and I don't know if I've talked about it on the show yet.
I think the last one that you talked about had like desert cars.
Yeah, so the new season is the first season since they started releasing new car types to not be centered around a new car type, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So there was no new car introduction to this season. It was more of what they did as standard before this blitz of new car types, where it's a couple new pieces of track that help round out the different things that mappers want to do, and then just more really good tracks made by the people at Nadeo.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in excited because it's like, okay, this feels like the season where they get to put it all together. And largely they've delivered on that. The tracks have been really fun so far, and have had a bunch of cool ideas in them that have not felt reliant on here is a gimmick of a new car type, You're still using all the different car types and sometimes switching between car types within a map. But in general, it feels like it's settled down from feeling like urgently they need to showcase and justify why there's a new car in the game.
Okay.
And now it's actually like, fun exploration of just like what makes for a cool and challenging map.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've enjoyed it from that standpoint. The danger is that I think they're starting to gravitate towards what they did a little bit in like the after the first couple of seasons when the game launched, there was some community backlash that, hey, it feels like each track within the season is hitting a checkbox. Like, oh, we need to have one that is, full speed laps. We need to have one that is like a crazy reactor jump. We need to have one that does this. We need to have, and so you could almost like match the tracks in a campaign to this checklist of things that they had internally, I imagine, of like what every campaign needed to have. As we got into this stage of introducing all the new car types and the craziness there, that got broken up in, I think, a really healthy way. And that it wasn't requirements, and while it was focused around the new car type, you didn't know what to expect when you went into any given map. And in this new season, I've kind of started to get back to like I'll start a map for the first time and be like, oh, this is the blah map. Okay, I kind of know what's coming, and largely that's held true. It's still high quality, but that element of checking the box feels like it's back a little bit. That said, still having fun with it. Still a great go-to game for me. This is the first time where I've run up against the problem of a change that they made several seasons back, that the campaign originally, it was just you could go to any map at any time. Now it's gated by like you have to get at least a gold medal on all the first level maps, on all it's like white, green, blue, red, black is the color coding. Got to get all the gold medals on the white maps before you can go to the blue maps. Got to get all gold medals on the blue maps before you can go to whatever you progress up through. And I've gotten stuck for the first time at the end of the red maps, and I've not been able to go into the last section of maps for needing to like grind out better times on the set of maps I'm on. It's annoying because like it's something I'm going to do anyway. I know I can get gold medals. I can probably get the next level up, which is author time medals on everything. And it'll happen at some point. But I went in earlier today. I was like, oh, I should play the black maps just to like be able to talk about them when I talk about the game.
Right.
And literally couldn't, It's like, okay, I now it's a time tax,
Right.
That's not cool.
Now,
that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I forget, can you run into other players in this?
You can choose to play on a server with other players, but there is no way for other players to like interfere with your run.
Okay, so
you
this
can see
is,
a little ghost of where they're at. Oh, go ahead.
So that makes even less sense to gate this. Like I could see doing if it was, if the concern was that you're gonna, interfere with other players.
Yeah, it is. I think the rationale is probably something around the new player experience, but I'm not that.
Right.
And the idea of like, oh, you'll get a sense of progression by earning each new set of tracks. And like, okay. Maybe so they switched to kind of a free to play model for the first 10 tracks in a campaign. So without ever buying the game, you can always play the first 10 tracks in the current campaign. And so with that switch in business model to kind of more free to play, time and attention as key metrics gets way more important. And so this time tax and forcing players to kind of advance a little bit more slowly stops someone doing ostensibly what I was about to do, which is, okay, I'm just going to graze through, play each track once to see it, and then I leave, right? Because they need butts in the seats. They need to justify, they need the attention and the engagement in their new business model. So I don't know how much they thought about it, but it is a little annoying in my specific case.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
No, I want to be able to play which tracks I want when I want, and ultimately, it'll probably wind up being an extra half hour of effort on my on my part. But
Mhm.
when that comes, right before I want to be able to talk about it with my friends, that's not good.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's friction that I have not experienced before, that I'm hitting for the first time. The tracks have been good and fun. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say tied to a change that has specious kind of specious reasoning behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's good content, and I'm enjoying having new maps to kind of learn and mess with. So at least it's not lower quality and a more hostile business model. Only one side of that coin at a time, I guess. And I'll wind up seeing all of it. You guys know how much I enjoy this game, so we'll report back in on the black maps and see if there was anything in there that I'm like, oh man, I'm really glad they hid that from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like I earned it. There was, in the red maps, they're starting to get into the more. I'm trying to think of the right way to parse this in non like only TrackMania speech. They call them RPG maps, where it's like, yes, you're still trying to go fast in these maps, but really they're designed around like tricky maneuvering of the car. And so it's more about just being able to figure out how to finish and do kind of tricky jumps and stuff. And then you can get faster at it. But the focus of the map is on these, tricky little stunts. And it's cool to see them. That's usually just stuff done by the community.
Mm-hmm.
You don't usually see it in the regular campaign, but they've started, there was at least a map or two that started incorporating those elements into the campaign. So I like the idea of the campaign as an introduction to the breadth of what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Including these kind of quirky RPG maps that are have previously been more for people to find on their own. So that is appreciated. And we'll see how crazy they get in the last tier of maps.
Now, there's no storyline or I don't know, career or anything like that to the campaign, right?
No, absolutely not. It is one of the more active esports communities. And in fact, I want to say it's at GDEX, and I forget when GDEX is going on. That's like a game convention that is local, I think, here to Ohio. One second,
I would really much rather them not have, an attempt to make a story around it. I think that's
no, it's
really not
completely missing the point of the game.
Not where their heart ought to be.
Yeah, so GDEX is going on this weekend. So if you're listening to it right now, you can probably go see what's going on with GDEX. They're hosting a big TrackMania tournament. So I thought about trying to get out there and seeing it played live, because obviously that attracts better players, and it would be cool to like be at an event for this game that I've put so much time into in person. So there's a very active esports scene, and I think their quote unquote story comes more out of the like, oh, so and so is really making a surge right now, or it's the different streamers and players trying to be the first to finish a supposedly impossible RPG map or what have you. So it's all kind of meta story like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the new thing I've been playing is TrackMania, their latest season.
Mm-hmm.
They added I think it's called platform mode. So the last season they introduced stunt mode, which was just incomprehensible to me. Platform mode seems to be the same thing. It feels like these are modes that were in previous iterations of the game that they've got lying around, so why not throw them in? But it feels kind of clear that no one's really focused on them. It's just like, well, here's a thing that we have, and fart it out there and see if anyone enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I feel like that is them having their focus on the right place. Check in on Diablo IV, the Vessel of Hatred expansion. I have gotten my first ever, in the history of playing the game, expansion or not, mythic unique item. Which it's something like a 1 in a billion chance that you get it, or 1 in some insane number. I cheat a little bit if you have the season pass, and I got that because I got the expansion. When you finish the season pass, you get a little thing for a guaranteed one.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say
yeah,
that straightens out the odds right quick.
Yeah, it does.
That feels like that kind of defeats the purpose of this season system, though, does it?
How so?
Well, I mean,
What are
if
you
it's
thinking?
supposed to be like, a race to max level or whatever, and, some people, it's just like, oh, well, you got this super ultra item.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how the like super into ladder climbing community thinks about that kind of thing, because yeah, if there's a build that's really broken and good and it requires this mythic unique that you can't realistically get in, or you can't realistically count on getting it however many months a season is, I could see that being problematic. I know they've put some systems into the game where you do get a little more agency. So there's these guaranteed ones if you have the season pass. And then there's something around being able, like, once you have a mythic unique, you can do something to like turn that in for another one or something. I've never been that hardcore into the game. So I can't comment on what the meta is, or if people are like, oh, you're at the top of the leaderboard, but you got lucky, or if they, it all evens out.
So
someone who's streaming this as like their day job is probably seeing more mythic uniques than I am. But
so here's
it says something.
Here's my question: like, just because you got one that's shiny a different color or whatever, like it can be as rare as you want it to be. Is it usable? Like, did you get it and it's like effective for your character? Because like, Diablo, there's a you really only have like a 1 in 8 chance of getting something you can actually use. So refine the odds down there.
Yeah, funny story that you've anticipated where I'm going with this. Technically, yes, it's very usable for my class, but not for the build I was using within my class. So it's an item that like applies an insane amount of poison. And it was even, it had a star on it, which means like even within being a mythic unique, it's a special version of that mythic unique, yada yada. So it is a good drop, and it is something I could use. And I did, like, I kind of went in and I respect a little bit. And I was like, okay, if I was going to use this, I've got these things I can add, and I would change this. And then I went out into the field to like, test drive it. And I was deleting stuff left and right. Like it's a powerful build and a powerful item. But at that point, it just felt wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know another way to say it than that. Like, I've been pushing the buttons for my skills in this order the entire season, and I've gotten better and faster at doing that. And so to go out and have just a completely different way that you're playing the game, it was like, oh, but I'm higher power level, but I'm not doing me.
Okay.
What class is this?
This is the new Spiritborn class. So I was doing a build of that centered around like your ultimate ability is like a powerful, meant to be rarely used ability. Usually has a very long cooldown. The build that I kind of came up with was all centered around reducing cooldowns so that I could basically always be popping my ultimate. So that feels good. It basically summons King Kong. And press X for monkey is a fun way to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so slipping over to one that, like I said, it was like a poison focused mythic unique where you just like everybody turns green and then disappears. It's cool. It's just a different flavor, and it didn't have monkey. So need my monkey.
Right.
Has there been any talk about adding the paladin?
There has. Specifically, they had to, when they said our new class is going to be this Spiritborn thing, they very specifically addressed, and I know a bunch of people were hoping for paladin.
Oh,
like
that's why I haven't bought the expansion.
Yeah, I think you're not completely alone in that. And so the way they addressed it is basically like, we wanted to do something new versus just retread old classes out. And the Spiritborn is designed so that you can build it multiple different ways. I think I said in a previous week that the idea is like, okay, you're only getting one new class and everyone's playing it because it's the expansion. But you can build Spiritborn to be very tanky, or you can build it to be very fast attacking and all that. So basically, rather than go with a fan favorite, they went for something that has a bunch of different builds to it, some of which feel kind of paladin-y, if you will.
Does it do like the full plate Holy Warrior thing?
I guess I don't know what that means because I didn't play Paladin previously. You can build it super tanky and defensive if you want.
I think Moxie just wants to be able to play at night.
Yeah. I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't care what it can do. I care about the flavor.
Look. No. The look, no matter what, is very like jungle warrior kind of deal.
Mayan kind of
that
thing.
Sucks.
What do you call it? Avatar chic, I guess, is their style. So yeah, you're not getting that full plate fantasy, unfortunately. But yeah, so it was cool to get the big shiny drop and felt rewarded for finishing the season. I have it stashed away, and I believe you can trade items between your characters. So whenever I finish up with the Spiritborn or get that to max level, I'll probably go back and try to find a way to use the poison mythic unique on another character. Either another build of the Spiritborn, that would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I also might bring in Rogue, which I know loves their poison. So we shall see.
That's if they don't find a way to take it from you or change it.
Yes,
I'm anticipating everything that Blizzard can do.
Oh, I mean, they've already found out a way to do that. It's called the season system.
But even within this, I wouldn't trust anything in this model to stick around, I guess.
Yeah, hold it lightly. Hold it lightly. It might get plucked out of your hand at any point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Diablo 4. Nothing crazy new there. And that is the big stuff I've been playing.
Okay.
Obviously playing Deck of Wonders on Kickstarter. Hooray!
Yeah, that probably taken up a fair amount of your time.
Mm-hmm. I'll be much more interesting in future weeks. I promise.
Yeah. Same here, because the only real thing that I played, and I did this last week after we recorded. I finished up Silent Hill 2, and no new thoughts. It's still really good. Lands the ending very well. They shouldn't have been able to do it as well as they did. Should have been impossible, but yeah, I dig it, and it is hard for me to say anything against it other than there are parts of it that feel padded. I'm not convinced that it needs to be 15 hours long, but outside of a couple of very obvious points where I would cut, it is pretty. Yeah, I don't know that I can especially say like, oh yeah, it needs to come out from like everywhere. A lot of it feels justified.
Did you get the ending you expected?
No, I did not. I think last week I was talking about getting the Maria ending where you leave with Maria and she's, sick, so the cycle's going to start again. I got the bad ending. I got the in water ending. Which I think was just a result. So a number of the factors that determine which ending you get are the same. So whether or not you stick around and check on Maria and a couple of points when you get separated from each other, and whether you listen to the entirety of a recording that is shown to you, and whether you like how quickly you heal yourself. Like, are you running around with low health quite a bit? That all of that will determine. So like if you listen to the entire recording and you do like I did, running around at low health, trying to conserve, right? Basically the idea is that, James, can't go on. And then it's called in water because he drives his car into the water.
I hate psychoanalysis endings.
Yeah.
Like, I hate when games do multiple endings and it's not a decision you made. It's just like, we're going to try to, apply pop psychology to figure out what what you were really doing. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
that's bullshit.
Yeah, Silent Hill 2 is one of the originators of that. I'm, a little bit agnostic. It can get a little corny. Like it's a little corny when Silent Hill Shattered Memory does it. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, the running around with no low health comes from your familiarity with the game.
Yeah.
Rather than like a psychological thing. And similarly, I imagine wanting to listen to the whole message was because, hey, I want to see what's new or see how they remade it, versus again psychological input. So it is a little funny that their intent is getting completely missed there.
But like, okay, I say it's a bad ending or whatever. The idea of a bad ending is a fake idea. It's the ending you got. But also like all of the endings are pretty well done and feel like they could have followed from what came before. So it's not like, the Pyramid Head comes up and everybody's drumming on their bellies doing a drum roll like, oh, are we gonna do it, or is he gonna do it, oh, what's he gonna do? And then James shits in his pants and goes wah, wah, and then somebody puts like baby clothes on him, and it's like you the player are a loser. They're not doing that. It's just
could you not spoil the new endings that they put into the game? Jeez.
I haven't gotten to them yet. There are 8 of them. You've got a full half of them. I think more than half you have to play on a New Game Plus to get.
Ooh.
But those are that also was the case. Many of the endings in the previous one were also New Game Plus as well. So I didn't
like.
Oh, good.
Oh, sorry. This is off topic. I do like. I just found that the Konami merch store sells a the dog with the headset as a plush.
Yep. Their merch is really inconsistent. Like I've got up on my wall from that store like a really nice print of the map of the first map from the original Silent Hill. And like, oh yeah, that's wonderful. I'd love to have that. And then some of it's like, here's skateboard decks with Pyramid Head on it, and it's like, I have no idea who is making your decisions about what you need, what you're going to stock, or who you think we are.
Oh, I love you. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. Like you can get the map as a throw blanket.
Yeah, not so crazy about that. I just like having a survival horror map up on my wall because that's always where you find them in the games.
I forget. Do you have the Dark Souls map?
Oh, I've got the Laudate Solus, the one that Fangamer sells it now, but that's the like the side on.
Exactly.
I've got that one. Yeah. So yeah, Silent Hill 2. It's good. Play it if you can. I recommend it. People have asked several times, is this a good entry point for somebody who wants to get into Silent Hill? Like, it's going to be an entry point for a lot of people. I don't see anything that stops it. So, play it and then go back and play other stuff if you would like to. It's never going to get easier to get a hold of these things and play them, both from like a modernization, ease of use standpoint, and also just from they are selling this on a system that is currently still being supported standpoint.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. There's only one other thing that I played. I streamed this a couple of weeks back, and I didn't talk about it, but I feel self-conscious just coming of Silent Hill 2. Can't talk a whole lot about it because it's kind of a one-sitting horror game. It is called Moving Houses. Is what it is, and this is of the genre of horror games where it really tries to get you to think that it is one kind of game, but it is not that kind of game. So this looks like kind of a standard cozy jank game about packing up your house to move. Like everything is bright, colorful, pastel kind of things going on.
Unpacking, like, if you will.
Yeah, except in the other direction.
We call them Kole games.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Not too far off. It's like a little simulator. It's just, you're somebody who's moving. You've got a tutorial kind of like mission giver thing saying, all right, it's time to pack up the garage, time to pack up this. But of course, because it's a horror game set in a house, they're working on some House of Leaves stuff. You think you've packed every room, and that's not where things end. Stuff changes when you are not looking, when you're inside the house, when you're outside the house. Stuff is kind of shifting around. I'm saying all of this kind of like I'm bored because I'm not seeing a lot of like super new ideas in it. I just think that it is a pretty good kind of construction of this idea, especially for somebody who is like too squeamish for like a super hardcore horror game. This is on the softer side. So if you want to play something that explores those ideas about like mutable space, things like that, things just kind of being subtly uncannily off, this is kind of like playing My House, a little bit less hardcore and a little bit less like straight up disturbing than My House is. The Doom map that is,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But it's playing in a similar space, and if you're like somebody who likes horror ideas but doesn't want to be like super spooked or jump scared or anything, that's not anything that really happens in it. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Any more would just be spoiling stuff, but yeah, moving houses. It is fine.
I mean, the title is pretty good on its own.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
hey,
just what they say over in Europe or in over in Britain. It's not moving.
But the double entendre.
Oh,
sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
The double entendre there is on point.
It is. Yeah. So, any questions about that?
So as a semi-related, I actually posted a game I saw I thought you might like that's free, like you said, single-serving horror game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll throw that in my reminders. Yeah. Sweet.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's an itch.io too. Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's a segment, I think.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it. Dennis, what is the question that you ask the nice people?
Yeah, what is your comfort game? Essentially, is what we're talking about today. Especially when hard drive space is at a premium, and you kind of got to delete old things to make way for new things. What is something that you always keep installed or otherwise available just in case?
Yeah. Peter comes in, they're a single issue voter, saying Rogue Galaxy is a game I always keep available in whatever PlayStation platform that supports it. I also keep my Game Boy Advance SP or Micro to be able to play Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tactics Advance, yeah. And any form of Final Fantasy Tactics I would take on the go. I wish there was a more readily available way to get a non-touchscreen version of just Tactics War of the Lions, but was not meant to be.
One couldn't do worse than having a GBA Micro in their pocket.
That screen is too small. I understand people like it because it's crisp, but the Game Boy Advance SP is right in the perfect form factor. Little laptop. Moxie, what does Aaron say?
The Binding of Isaac got me into roguelikes, and it's still one of the most balanced roguelikes I have ever played. That and the absolute glut of mods gives it limitless possibilities.
Yeah. No. And also if you're talking about like space, that's a real tiny game too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny to think about what does balanced mean in a roguelike, especially when so many of that type of game are designed around breaking the game, as it were.
Yeah.
It's a real kind of nebulous thing.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, the Binding of Isaac does it well.
Yeah. Dennis, what does Callum say?
Short and sweet. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
Yep.
Not 3, because screw 3.
I think 3 is gigantic, and also maybe they've played it a lot recently, and it has not fallen into like, oh, I could just play this whenever that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 do.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. How Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are kind of similar in story depth, right?
A little bit shallower. Baldur's Gate 1 is definitely lighter and shallower. Baldur's Gate 2 it has like a good sprawl to it, but it doesn't have the like in-depth companion stuff that 3 does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are games where you could maybe more easily have a save going that you can go back to without feeling like you got to read.
Yeah. Especially if you're familiar with it.
Okay. Very cool.
Razana says Project Zomboid. Last played it with my friends over a year ago. Now it just sits there, just waiting for the next blue moon to happen. Yeah, I need to check that out. People talked about that when I played that last zombie survival game that I played that I can't remember the name of. Yeah.
Should have been Project Zomboid.
Yeah. Moxie, what does Alex say?
Alex says, I will never stop playing Nuclear Throne. I remember playing it when I joined the Slack in 2016, and the first 2 custom emojis I added were air horn and young Venus.
I don't know what those are.
Venus. You can see them if you go to the Slack. It is Nuclear Throne related items, I am sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a triangle dude.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it looks like the little triangle guy from Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
Huh.
Never played Nuclear Throne.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like Nuclear Throne and Binding of Isaac like duel it out for, kind of the
Most bleak.
Well, okay, that too. But I was gonna say like kind of people's like ultra, I don't know, that and maybe Dead Cells. You're a fan of one of those 3?
Right. Okay.
Where does Enter the Gungeon fall in all that?
That's a good
in
one
my
too.
Mind,
yeah.
Nuclear Throne and Enter the Gungeon are very close together.
Gungeon's good. That's a good game. That's all that I have to add there.
Have any of you guys played Exit the Gungeon?
I have.
That's the platformer, right?
Not exactly.
Oh, okay.
iPhoneized version of the game.
Yeah, it was originally an iOS one. Yeah, I haven't played it.
It was fun. I played that on vacation a couple of years ago. It was nice. It was the perfect thing to have in your pocket when you might be on a plane and not be connected to anything or what have you.
Yeah.
Good call.
Dennis, what does Michael say?
Michael says Bloodborne across 2 systems. Every year I play a little bit more, usually around this time of year, so I better get to it and maybe finish the game on the PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
It's a generational accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, you
feel
gotta
like what constitutes finishing the game though? Is it like do the Chalice exclusive bosses, or?
I think it's up to them. I don't know. I'm not going to tell them to do that. I'm not.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Do not know. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. Here's the final one. Oh yes. Steven says, for me, it's Bloodborne. Sorry, I got confused because it was 2 Bloodborns in a row.
We got a double Bloodborne ending here.
Yeah, Steven says, for me, it's Bloodborne. It was the first thing I installed onto the PS5, and it's yet to be taken off. You never know when a run through some Chalice dungeons is needed. I do. Never again.
Oh, see, I have a huge chip on my shoulder that they haven't put Chalice dungeons in any of the later games, because that made Bloodborne.
It's like eating a big burlap sack of cornmeal. I just fucking can't.
I just like the idea that like Beetlejuice, if we had a 3rd Bloodborne answer in a row, it would appear on all our computers and we'd have to finish it before we could do anything else.
That would imply a PC port of Bloodborne, and that can't happen. There are too many people. There are too many people who throw pretend panic attacks every time any game is announced on Twitter. That it's not Bloodborne for PC, so that cycle needs to be unbroken.
You guys aren't recording on your PlayStation 4s?
No.
Oh, I must be doing it wrong.
Weird.
And I just want Bloodborne 2. That's all I want.
I just want a form of Bloodborne that I can mod very easily. Put in a randomizer.
That also would be cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you realize Bloodborne ships with a randomizer?
Not with interesting levels, no. And not mixing where you find like items and stuff. Yeah, no, you're not gonna fucking gerrymander me into tacitly approving of this. Sorry, I don't have
That
time.
was
I don't
good.
have I don't have time for the fucking cheek of it. My answer is nice and simple. I like to have something that has Tetris on it. Because I could always, I don't know, throw down with about 15 to 20 minutes of Tetris. For the past while, that has been Puyo Puyo Tetris or whatever on the Switch. Not the theming on that is Poison, but you can just press a button and you go right into playing like, just unlimited line Tetris. So, or play up to 200 lines or whatever it is.
So minimizing the time to Tetris is very important.
Yeah. Just a T.T.T approaching 0. Let's see. Moxie, how about you? What do you always keep around?
I feel like this one's a super obvious one. Warframe?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't mean to. I was trying to do like a let's say it at the same time kind of thing.
Oh, okay. No. I appreciate that. No, totally. Right now they just released their 1999 preview. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you were talking about that when it was announced. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone's in like cargo pants.
It's more like everyone is a dark, gritty anti-hero that you just don't understand, man.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
You just described someone in cargo pants.
Yeah. Usually there's a comorbidity. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, for me, surprisingly, it's not XCOM. Because I that was my initial answer. I was like, no, I've actually taken that off. For me, it is Deep Rock Galactic.
Okay.
Just because it is such a good multiplayer experience.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I run into someone that is currently into it, I want to be able to join them.
Yeah.
So it hardly ever gets played, but it will never come off my computer because of those random moments where it's like, oh yeah, I'm super into this weird game. It's like a dwarf mining game called Let's Go! Yeah, no. Right. Yes! Right now. And then I'm playing Deep Rock Galactic again.
Wait, you're talking about Dwarf Fortress, right?
Yeah. No, that's the one I've been teetering on the brink of playing for a long time, but have not taken the plunge. But yeah, DRG forever. Rock and stone to the bone.
Yeah. Good question, Dennis. Thank you everybody for answering. If you want to participate in these in the future, go to the Duckfeed community group on Facebook and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons.
The end boss.
Now it is time for the end boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games around us and how we feel about them. I will take the lead here. There was an Xbox, not indies, but like published by Xbox or something event here this past week. Few different things announced there, but the thing that is most exciting to me, we knew that Subnautica 2 was going to be coming, like it had been announced. But we have some new details about it. It is still coming out in 2025. Still going to be like an early access-ish kind of thing. But it is going to be set on a new planet. But there will be some creatures that return for people who got attached to, I don't know, little bottlefish or whatever.
Well, it's like how a crab evolves no matter what ecosystem it's in. There's just some Subnautica versions of that.
And your little onboard machine will turn anything that you want just into a water bottle. So it's fine. It kind of doesn't matter what evolution did. You'll take the last step for them into alloys. There's going to be multiplayer in it. Co-op multiplayer with up to 4 players at once, which is
optional co-op for anyone that decided they wanted to be outraged on the internet today.
Oh, were people being weird about that? Yeah,
the internet was being the internet, but it's optional. So a single player experience is still just fine.
Yeah, it's pretty clear in the announcement that it's optional, because I think the solitude of Subnautica is one of the most noteworthy things about it to me. So being able to play it on your own, like, yes, please, obviously, but having the option to, fuck around and have a shared base or whatever seems kind of neat. I don't know. It's kind of exciting. But yeah, coming to PC and Xbox Series X for the 5 people who have those.
So wait, okay. What was Subnautica below 0?
That was an expansion pack kind of thing, like mini sequel kind of deal.
Yeah, but it was like new character, new planet kind of deal though.
I don't know about new planet. It was definitely new biome.
Okay.
The Sub-Zero was that it was, frozen.
Uh-huh.
And there was like surface stuff on there. So you were like, underneath the ice, but then you could also be like up on land as well.
Okay. Yeah. Because I guess as I started seeing this come out, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that hadn't launched yet. That's that ice version of Subnautica.
No, that
I've
was
been
years
hearing about.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was surprised because that just lived in my head as Subnautica 2.
Mhm.
But this is a full on sequel.
Yes. Yeah. Full number sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had a little bit of Baldur's Gate talk earlier, so why don't we round it out? Dennis, what is the Baldur's Gate 3 cast getting into?
Oh yeah, getting into is an interesting choice of words. Just an interesting little story from a panel they recently did, where a bunch of the voice actors for their characters were there together, and they talked about who they romanced when they did their own playthroughs, and universally, to a person, each character chose to romance themselves.
Huh.
So the only force more powerful than love is narcissism.
I mean, depending on the philosopher you ask, it is one and the same, but
it's very fair, yeah. But my favorite part though is Neil Newbun, who voices Asterion. So he's dating himself in the game, which he refers to when he streams it as masturbation. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's the efficiency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've established this episode. I love a good portmanteau.
Yes.
No, that was a double entendre.
Right.
Damn, this is a portmanteau and a double entendre. I guess it's just a single entendre.
Yeah. It's just
not many places you can go.
Just the one thing.
Right in with your portmanteaus that are also double entendres. I would much appreciate
we
it.
don't need to see that too much of
Yeah.
that. No, somebody brought this to my attention. The voice actor for Astarion, you said his name earlier, Neil Newbun. Yeah, he's the voice actor for Heisenberg in Resident Evil Village, the electromagnetism werewolf guy, which was. Yeah, I didn't put it together, but now that I think about their two voices, that actually absolutely lines up.
Now that I think about their two voices, it's one voice.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I wonder how these actors will handle, especially like I feel like Asterion is so, so iconic. Just his mannerisms. Like, will it be that kind of typecast thing where it's like, oh, I can't do someone super different now because. Or I can only do someone super different because anything that sits near Asterion is going to be pulled too close to him.
I don't know. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it warms my heart to see these people enjoying the game that they worked on so much in an industry where all too often people are discarded.
Yes.
From a game after they've made it, and that has to leave a bad taste in your mouth. So
I'm just trying to picture like the rolling wave of relief as the first person says, "Oh yeah, definitely romance myself." And the second person said, "Yeah," and then just it gets down to the last person. It's like, whew, all right, yeah, here we are.
I was worried I was going to make it weird, but I'm glad that we were all there.
Oh.
Which, let's be honest, like you really, it's for educational purposes. You just want to learn as much as possible from your performance previously to apply to future work.
Yes. Moxie, what's happening in the world of Pokemon?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit of a weird one. Someone posted a YouTube video where they explained they set themselves a challenge of writing a computer program to play to beat Pokemon. However, to make it a little bit more difficult, they are actually beating it under what's called the Nuzlocke challenge run, which basically says that every time you enter a new area, you have to catch the first Pokemon you encounter and can only catch that Pokemon. So if you accidentally kill it, you don't get to catch a Pokemon in that area.
Okay.
And then on top of that, if any of your Pokemons, if any of them faint, you then can't use them for the rest of the run. However, to make things even more interesting, they set themselves the goal of finding a sequence of button pushes that would beat every game of Pokemon Platinum. So basically, no matter what random seed you get, this sequence button pushes will beat any of them.
Okay.
And it's like an hour plus video, them explaining exactly how they go about doing this. And it's a combination of really, really fascinating and completely insane. So, it's things like, figuring out exactly how powerful. So, I didn't realize even your starting Pokemon have, start with random stats.
Yeah.
And so it's things like you have to figure out exactly how powerful the weakest version of your starting Pokemon has to be in order to beat the first gym leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, figure out, okay, on what is for the worst set of seeds, the worst set of, random numbers, how many times do I need to walk around to make sure I've seen at least enough battles to get up to that level? And then, so on and so forth. So it's really fascinating. It also really strikes home just how crazy the law of random numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
As example, and obviously this one doesn't matter a lot, but it really really kind of shows you how skewed something can be.
Mm-hmm.
There is a single seed that you can start out with that in game your Pokedex has a coin flip option or a coin flip feature.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one of the seeds that if you flip the coin 100 times on average, it will land on heads 80 times.
So you're like exploring every single cascading possibility until you're able to commit quantum suicune.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, some of the more reasonable ones are just like there were a couple of the seeds where you have to walk through like 188 panels of tall grass before getting your first random encounter.
Okay.
Just stuff like that. It's really wild. It's really nonsense, but yeah, it's kind of cool. It's also interesting because this introduced me to the fact that Pokemon has like an active challenge run community.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so there's all sorts of different variants of like, oh, you can only use Pokemon that were gifted to you by NPCs, or
Mm-hmm.
you can never never heal your Pokemon in a Pokemon Center, or just all sorts of crazy nonsense.
I'm really upset that nobody laughed at my quantum suicune joke.
That would require me to know what that is.
So Suicune is a name of a legendary Pokemon, and quantum suicide is a thought experiment related to quantum immortality. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole idea where like
okay, thank you. Yeah, it is. That's not insulting.
Yeah, if you don't know what quantum suicide is, it means you haven't played enough Alan Wake.
That's more of a BioShock Infinite kind of deal.
One of their Twilight Zone things in Alan Wake is the
one with the gambler, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, people are maniacs. We've established this.
Oh yeah.
Neat. Well, I think that is a show. How do you all feel about buttoning it up?
Let us button.
The credits.
Thank you so much for listening to level number 520. A little bit of a shorter one, but sometimes that's just how it works out. Let's see. I was going to throw to you, Dennis, for promotion stuff, but we're literally 8 minutes away from that not being a factor right now.
Yeah, forget the Deck of Wonders Kickstarter. Now you can do Deck of Wonders late pledges.
Yes.
Which, as long as Kickstarter doesn't make that an unholy abomination or problematic for some reason, I'll turn those on. No reason to punish someone for being late to the party. So yeah, check that out.
Cool. Just do a little search on that. Yeah, but you know how to support this show. You can, join our Patreon. You can leave a rating or review. You can tell your friends. All of that is good and welcome. Remember, no show during the week of the American election. We'd be recording that night, unable to concentrate. Hopefully you understand. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
Don't think so.
All right. I've been Kole Ross. You can find me on Blue Sky at Kole Ross.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me on Blue Sky at Furia Games.
I've been Moxie. You can find me tending my call, apparently.
And stick around for some titles. All right, I have one T.T.T approaching 0.
Yep, I had written that down as well.
Okay.
So I had a variant on it, which I need to pull up because I don't know how computers work. I had minimum time to Tetris, but same idea.
Okay.
I had a second one, although it's technically taking some liberties with what was said, but it's gerrymandered into Chalice Dungeons.
Okay. Gerrymandered into Chalice Dungeons. I need to look and see if gerrymandered has 2 R's. Yes, it does. All right.
The European or the English spelling?
Let's see. Did you have any others, Moxie?
Nope. I do think that gerrymander should be a Pokemon, though.
Oh, it's right there.
Along with that propane rhino.
Let's see here. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, the only other one I had was Bloodborne. Ooh, I can't. That's a tongue twister. Bloodborne.
Okay. I like T.T.T approaching 0.
Yeah, it feels good to me.
Yeah. All right. It is decided.